Hello everyone, my name is Jamin. Thanks so much for visiting my channel. In this video, I have a Lenovo ThinkBook 16, the Gen 7 Intel model. I'm going to take you on a teardown or disassembly tour, show you how to get inside and how to access and upgrade many of the internal components. So first thing, power down your computer, make sure it's off and unplugged from your charger. We're then going to flip our computer over to access our bottom case screws. Now you have 9 screws in the bottom case, 4 on the bottom of my screen, 3 on the top, and 2 on either side in the middle. The middle screws and these top screws do not actually come out of the bottom case, so don't worry if they stay in. Once your screws are up, you're going to take a small flat pry tool. It's generally best to start near the back edges, the back corners of your computer. You're going to slowly, gently pry the bottom case up from the rest of your computer. Be careful not to put your pry tool too far in. You could damage some internal components. Keep it on the edge, go nice and slow but firm, and you'll be able to get that bottom case off. After you do, this is what you're looking at for the inside of your computer. Now, as a general computer repair side note, guys, whenever I'm working on a computer in my shop, it's sitting on an anti-static mat. Either that or an anti-static bracelet are great ideas to avoid damaging anything in your computer when you're working on it. If you would like any help with tools or supplies for your computer project, as well as any upgrade or replacement parts for this specific model computer, I will have a link above, also below in the description, and it will be a list of all those tools and supplies that I use and the upgrade and replacement parts for this specific model computer. This is the battery right down here near the bottom of my screen. Most of you will have an 11.52 volt battery, 45 watt hour. The Lenovo part number for this replacement will be L22D 3PE0. I will have all that information below in the description if you need it. Also, guys, there is an upgrade version available for this. It's a longer battery. It'll screw in here, above the speaker, and down here, and that will be a 71 watt hour battery. I will have both batteries available in that list I told you about below in the description if you need help finding them. The battery plug is up here and it's slightly underneath this shield, so you can gently peel this off very easily, and that'll get you at that plug a little easier. The battery screws down with these 5 screws near the red arrows, and if you want to unplug it, you would pull this plug to the left out of that port. Now, it's generally best to not pull on wires or cables if at all possible in a computer, to just pull on the plug, but this plug was hard to get a grip on. So I had to end up grabbing it right here near the tape and gently, slowly wiggling it out of that port, being as careful as I could not to damage those wires. If you're here because your computer is not turning on and you're trying to troubleshoot why, it could be caused by a bad battery and you may need to replace it. However, keep in mind that most laptop computers should still turn on and function with a bad battery as long as they're plugged in. So if your computer's not turning on at all, there may be something else wrong other than just a bad battery. If you would like help troubleshooting that, I will have a video link above, also below in the description, and that will show you the troubleshooting process I use in my shop to find out why a laptop's not turning on and how to fix it. Up near the top right of my screen, you see 2 RAM ports right here. This computer takes DDR5 RAM at 5600 megahertz. The max RAM capacity for this computer is listed at 64 gigabytes. However, because the CPU is so powerful, I was able to have a 96 gigabyte RAM kit be seen and used by the computer. So you can, or you should be able to upgrade to 96 gigabytes if you do want that much RAM. Below in the description, in that link I told you about with all of the tools, supplies, and upgrade parts, I will have several different RAM options for you. I will have an 8 gigabyte stick if you're looking for a very small upgrade, or if this one went bad and you're looking to upgrade but spend as little as possible, I will also have a 16 gigabyte stick if we're trying to keep the RAM low. However, I will also include for upgrades a 32 gigabyte kit, which would be 2 sticks of 16 gigabytes. I will include a 64 gigabyte kit for a really good sized upgrade. And again, if you wanted to max out at that 96 gigabytes, I'll include that kit as well. The way you operate RAM, you see there's a spring-loaded metal arm on either side of the RAM stick. If you want to get the stick out, you would gently pry these apart from each other, away from the RAM. The RAM stick will then release. Oftentimes it will even pop up a little bit. You can grab it from the middle and slide it to the left out of this port. To get the RAM back in, if you notice, there's a long section that plugs in and a short section. So you cannot get the RAM in upside down. It will only go in the correct way. After you get it in, make sure it's nice and flush and straight. Make sure the gold section is nice and evenly lined up all the way down. And when it is, you press down in the center, and these metal arms will latch onto it and hold it in place. This computer has two M.2 ports. One is here. Many of you will have a smaller 2242 solid-state drive stock in your computer. The other one is right down here above the speaker on the right-hand side. This computer takes up to Gen 4 solid-state drives. I will have all the solid-state drive spec information below in the description if you need it, but I will also include several solid-state drives below in that link I told you about with all of the replacement and upgrade parts for this model computer. If you want these smaller 2242 drives, I will have a replacement 256 gigabyte size as well as a 512 gigabyte size. For the larger 2280s that will go the entire length of these ports, I will include a 500 gigabyte drive, a 1 terabyte, and a 2 terabyte if you guys want to upgrade. Also, keep in mind, if you're installing a new drive to your computer, you may need to install an operating system to it afterwards. I will have two video tutorial links below in the description. One will show you how to install Windows 10. The other will show you how to install Windows 11. And if you are installing this new drive because your old one went bad, it is usually possible to recover data from a bad drive. I will include information about that process below in the description as well. Your CMOS battery is right up here near the top left of my screen. It's set in this cradle on this board. If you are replacing this battery, I will have a replacement option for you below in the description in that list I told you about with all of the tools, supplies, and upgrade parts. If you're looking to replace it or if you're looking to reset BIOS, you have to take this battery out of that port for maybe 15-20 seconds, and that should be sufficient to reset your BIOS system. Be very careful when taking it out, especially this part right here is very thin plastic and it can snap off if you are too aggressive with it. And if it does that, then you can't secure that battery in there again, so be very careful. The way you would do it, there are springs in here. So you would push down on the battery and then put a pry tool in here and push it back this way into these springs. Then the battery will release. For those of you resetting BIOS, be aware that this in most cases will not reset your BIOS password. It will only reset your BIOS system settings. If you would like more BIOS password reset information, check below in the description. To the left of my screen, you have this L-shaped speaker here. It's connected by these wires that's threaded down here under your touchpad to the right-hand speaker, and this plugs into the motherboard right here. Now this plug has a grip on either side, so you can easily use your nails or a pry tool to wiggle that out of that port without damaging the wires by pulling on them. These speakers are not actually screwed down. If you notice, they're just held on by these orange rubber washers over these posts for sound insulation. So to get those up, you can easily just wiggle those right off. I will try to have replacement speaker options for you below in the description in that list I mentioned with all of the tools, supplies, and replacement parts for this model computer. Your Wi-Fi card is right up here on top of your RAM. It's held in by a single screw here. Once you take that screw out, you'll be able to pull the Wi-Fi card to the left out of this port, and then all you have left is your antenna wire. Now these are just snaps. They just pull directly up and off of your Wi-Fi card. To snap them back on, however, they do need to be at a perfect 90-degree angle to snap back on. And you are strong enough to damage them if it's not at the right angle and you try to force it. So just go nice and slow, be patient. It's probably going to be a pain in the butt if you're not used to it, but you will be able to get that angle right so you can snap them back on. If you would like the Wi-Fi card spec information, I will have that below in the description to help you look for a replacement card, but I will also try to have a replacement option for you in that list I told you about with all the tools and supplies and upgrade parts for this model computer. Your fan is right up here near the top of my screen. The heatsink goes up top between the fan and the vent, comes down over your CPU and your heat spreader right here. The fan is held down by these three screws. After you take those up, you can remove your fan. Be very careful of these fan wires. If you can see in your computer, they're very small, very fragile. And if you just try to yank that out by pulling on that fan, very often you can break these wires and pull them right out of that plug. So use your fingernails or pry tools and wiggle that plug out of that port. Try not to break those wires. Now, I don't know why you guys are here, if you're here to simply replace a fan or if you're trying to clean your computer out. Once you get your fan up, you can vacuum it out, blow it out, clean it out that way, and your heatsink can come up by these 3 screws. As a word of caution, if you take up your heatsink in your computer for any reason, you do need to then reapply your thermal paste. Once it's been broken and exposed to air, it needs to be reapplied. If you need help with that operation, I will have a video tutorial link above, also below in the description. It will show you how to fix an overheating laptop. And one of the things it will show is how to clean off all the thermal paste from both your CPU and your heatsink. And then it will show you how to apply the correct amount of new thermal paste. If you don't apply enough, it won't work. And if you apply too much, you could actually lock heat in rather than facilitate its transport out. So that video will be available if you need it. Another thing I'll shout out about the computer, guys, you see these ribbon cables? You got a small one like this here, a larger one here, a large keyboard ribbon cable here, your touchpad ribbon cable here. All these ribbon cable connectors, they're very fragile. Also up here, this isn't a ribbon cable, this is your LCD cable, but it attaches in a similar way. All these clips are very, very fragile. If you break them, your ribbon cables will not be able to fasten down securely again, which may lead to the components not being connected. So be very careful when using them. The way you would operate these is you would take a small, very, very flat pry tool. You would go at it from this direction, slide it underneath this black clip, and gently pop it up. It'll pop up like a book cover. So it'll open from this side, and the hinges will be on the top side. Again, very fragile when you do that, so be careful. And if you have to take a ribbon cable out, after you do, put that clip back down so it doesn't get caught on anything. To get at your touchpad assembly, that's down here, just a couple screws after removing this guard. And your LCD assembly, you would undo this LCD cable here. You would undo your antenna wire from the Wi-Fi card, run them down through here, out of this hinge assembly, and then unscrew both of your hinges to get your LCD assembly off. But that's a majority of the components in this computer. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I look forward to seeing you on my next video.